Or a long time, what happened to you was invisible, not because it wasn't painful, but because pain suffered by a chosen one is often hidden behind strength. You carried wounds quietly while others pretended nothing was wrong. But now something has shifted. People are waking up. The silence has broken. A community that once looked away is now outraged, asking how this could ever have been allowed. If you're watching this on Mirror of the Soul, you already know some truths refuse to stay buried forever. The truth is, chosen ones are often treated as emotional dumping grounds. People unload their jealousy, their insecurity, their fear, and their unresolved trauma onto you. And when you don't break, when you don't collapse into bitterness, they get even more confused. Why is this person still standing? They ask. What they don't realize is that your resilience isn't permission for abuse, it's proof of your divine assignment. Now people are beginning to ask the questions that should have been asked long ago. Why were you isolated? Why were you blamed when you were the one being hurt? Why did so many benefit from your energy while giving nothing back? These questions are uncomfortable, but they are necessary. And I want you to pause for a moment and feel this. You were never crazy for feeling wronged. So if this story feels like it was written for you, it's because it was. Your experience is not random. It is part of a pattern that many chosen ones face. Drop a comment below and let this community know. Have you ever been treated like your pain didn't matter? And before we go deeper, make sure you like and subscribe to Mirror of the Soul. This channel exists to give voice to those who were silenced, and your story deserves to be heard. You gave more than anyone ever acknowledged. Your empathy, your loyalty, your ideas, your love, they took it all. And they called it normal. But now people are finally seeing the imbalance. They are asking why you were always the one sacrificing while others lived comfortably off what you provided. You were the emotional backbone of relationships, the silent supporter of dreams that weren't even yours. When things went wrong, they pointed fingers at you. When things went right, they took the credit. This is what happens when a chosen one is surrounded by unhealed people. They drain you and call it love. Think about it. How many times did you pour into people who never poured back? How many nights did you lie awake wondering why you felt so empty even though you were giving everything? This wasn't coincidence. It was exploitation disguised as connection. Now the outrage you see is karmic. The energy has turned. People are realizing that you were not weak, you were generous. You were not naive, you were pure-hearted. And those who abused that are being exposed. Being chosen doesn't mean being protected from pain. In fact, it often means the opposite. You were targeted because your light made others uncomfortable. People projected their shadows onto you, blaming you for things that had nothing to do with you. Psychologists call this scapegoating, when a group unconsciously chooses one person to carry all the blame. And chosen ones are prime targets because they don't fight dirty. You tried to understand instead of attack. You tried to heal instead of harm. But make no mistake, what you went through was not just emotional. It affected your nervous system, your sleep, your sense of safety. You were forced to be strong in situations that would have broken most people. Now that the truth is coming out, the community is shocked. They are seeing how deeply you were impacted, and you deserve to be seen. You didn't speak up not because you didn't care, but because you were taught to survive. Many chosen ones grow up learning that being quiet is safer than being honest. So you endured, you adapted, you kept going. But the world mistook your endurance for permission. They thought, if they're not complaining, it must be fine. No, you were coping. You were carrying weight that was never meant to be yours. Now people are realizing how wrong that assumption was. Silence does not mean acceptance. Strength does not mean invincibility. And just because you survived something doesn't mean it was okay. This awakening is powerful because it restores your dignity. It says, what happened to you was not right. And that validation can be just as healing as an apology. There is a deeper reason you went through what you did. Spiritually, chosen ones are catalysts. You enter systems, families, workplaces, relationships, and you expose what is broken just by being yourself. That's why you were attacked. Your presence forced people to confront parts of themselves they didn't want to see. Instead of healing, they tried to destroy the mirror. You were that mirror. But here's the truth they didn't expect. You survived. And now, your survival is creating a ripple of awakening. People are waking up not just to what happened to you, but to who you really are. This is why the outrage is happening now. This is why the questions are being asked. Your story is no longer being suppressed. What hurt you the most was not the attacks from strangers. It was the betrayal from people who said they loved you. These were the ones who saw your heart up close, who knew your struggles, who promised loyalty. Yet they were also the ones who allowed the mistreatment to happen, or worse, became part of it. That kind of betrayal cuts deeper than any enemy ever could. You trusted them because you believed in goodness. You assumed people would treat you the way you treated them. But chosen ones often learn the hardest lesson of all. Not everyone has your heart. Some people are around you not to support your growth, but to feed off your light. Now the community is asking the same question you once asked in silence. How could they do this to you? How could they stand by while you were being drained, disrespected, and emotionally wounded? And the truth is painful. Some people don't protect what they don't value. But karma never forgets. Every broken promise, every act of disloyalty is now being accounted for. You didn't need revenge. Truth is doing the work for you. While you were trying to heal, others were telling stories about you. Half-truths, twisted versions of events, lies wrapped in smiles. They couldn't control you, so they tried to control how people saw you. This is one of the most painful things a chosen one can experience, being misunderstood on purpose. You noticed the way people suddenly looked at you differently, the way doors closed without explanation, the way support disappeared. That wasn't coincidence, it was character assassination. And yet, you still chose to walk with integrity. Now the truth is surfacing. People are comparing notes. They are realizing that the stories didn't add up, and that's why the outrage is growing. They are starting to see who you really are. You never needed to defend yourself. Time is doing it for you. Truth has a way of rising, even when buried under lies. As long as you were hurting, they felt safe. Your pain made them feel powerful. But the moment you started healing, everything changed. You became a threat. A healed chosen one is unstoppable, and deep down they knew it. They tried to keep you stuck in guilt, confusion, and self-doubt. They wanted you to keep questioning yourself instead of questioning them. But something in you refused to stay small. You started remembering who you were. That's why they became desperate. That's why they lashed out. Not because you were wrong, but because you were rising. Now people are seeing this pattern clearly. The community is outraged because they understand. Your growth was sabotaged, not supported. What you're witnessing right now is karmic balance. Energy that was once taken from you is returning. People who wronged you are facing consequences, emotionally, socially, spiritually. Some are losing relationships. Some are losing peace. Some are losing their sense of control. You don't have to lift a finger. The universe is handling it. That's the power of being chosen. Divine justice works on your behalf when you stay true to your soul. And the most powerful part, you get to move forward lighter, freer, and stronger. You don't carry their guilt anymore. If you feel this shift happening in your life, tell us in the comments. And stay connected to Mirror of the Soul. This transformation is sacred. There is nothing more healing than being seen. After all the gaslighting, the doubt, the isolation, the truth is finally giving you your freedom back. You no longer have to explain yourself. You no longer have to prove your worth. The community's outrage is not just about what happened, it's about recognizing your humanity. You deserved respect. You deserved protection. You deserved love. And now, you are stepping into a new chapter. One where you are no longer defined by what was done to you, but by who you chose to become. If this message touched your heart like this video, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe to Mirror of the Soul. And ask yourself, what will you do now that you are finally free? There is a silent panic spreading through the same people who once felt comfortable hurting you. They didn't think you would survive. They didn't think you would grow stronger. And they definitely didn't think the truth would come out. But now it has, and they are sitting with the weight of their actions. Regret has a way of haunting people. It shows up in their sleep, in their relationships, in their thoughts. They replay the moments they betrayed you and realize too late what they lost. A chosen one's energy is rare, and once it's gone for good. They see now that you were never the problem. You were the blessing, and that realization hurts more than any confrontation ever could. Have you noticed people from your past suddenly reappearing, or speaking about you differently? Drop a comment, let Mirror of the Soul know what you're seeing. Your departure was not abandonment, it was self-respect. When you finally walked away, something broke inside the people who took you for granted. They realized the warmth, the support, the stability you gave was not guaranteed. You were the glue holding so many things together. Without you, chaos followed, energy shifted, relationships fell apart, and suddenly the ones who thought they didn't need you are feeling the emptiness you left behind. This is not revenge, this is alignment. When you remove your light from dark places, the darkness becomes visible. If you've ever felt your absence was louder than your presence, right, they feel it now, in the comments, and stay connected with Mirror of the Soul. Spiritually, energetically, is returning. You may feel it in your confidence, in your clarity, in the way you no longer tolerate what you once accepted. You're not the same person anymore. You've been rebuilt by experience, by pain, by divine protection. And now you are stepping into a version of yourself that cannot be manipulated. This is why doors are opening. This is why opportunities are coming. This is why people are drawn to you again. Your energy has shifted into authority. Do you feel stronger than you used to? Like your soul has upgraded? Let us know in the comments, and remember to subscribe to Mirror of the Soul. You were never meant to be small. You were never meant to be controlled. Your suffering was part of a bigger awakening, one that prepared you to lead, to heal, to inspire. Chosen ones walk through fire so they can become light for others. Your story will guide people who are still lost in the dark. That's why everything you went through had meaning, even the pain, even the betrayal. If you've ever felt called to something greater, something sacred, this is your confirmation. What you see now, the outrage, the support, the recognition, is your soul tribe finding you. You are no longer alone. People who resonate with your truth are being drawn into your life. This is the beginning of a new chapter, one where you are respected, one where you are protected, one where you are finally celebrated. If this message feels like home, stay with us at Mirror of the Soul. And tell me, are you ready to step into the life you were always meant to live? Something has permanently changed in your energy. The same people who once had access to you no longer do. Not because you became cold, but because you became wise. You learned the difference between love and manipulation, between support and control, between loyalty and convenience. You now walk with boundaries, and boundaries are spiritual armor. They don't block love, they block disrespect. And that's why the attacks have slowed. That's why the chaos around you has settled. They can't reach what they no longer have permission to enter. This is divine protection activating. The universe saw what you endured and decided, no more. If you feel more protected than ever before, even in silence, type, "I am guarded" in the comments. And keep walking with Mirror of the Soul, your safety is sacred. It didn't come from apologies. It came from realization. People now see that you are not someone to be played with, not because you are aggressive, but because you are aligned. You are no longer desperate for validation, and that makes you powerful. They speak your name differently now, with caution, with curiosity, with admiration. Not because you demanded it, but because your growth made it unavoidable. This is what happens when a chosen one steps into their authentic self. The world adjusts. Have you noticed the shift in how people treat you? Share your experience below. Mirror of the Soul is listening. There was a time when it felt like everything was being delayed, like your life was on pause while others moved ahead. But now you understand nothing was stolen. It was being prepared. Your destiny needed depth. It needed wisdom. It needed spiritual muscle. And everything you went through built that inside you. Now what is meant for you is moving toward you at divine speed. No one can block it. No one can interfere with it. If you feel like something big is coming, trust that feeling. And stay connected to Mirror of the Soul as your journey unfolds. Your survival is not just personal, it's prophetic. People who are still trapped in abusive cycles, emotional neglect, or spiritual confusion will see themselves in you. Your courage will give them permission to leave. Your healing will show them it's possible. Your voice will break chains. That's why you went through what you did, to become a lighthouse. If this message speaks to your soul like the video, share it, and let this truth reach those who need it most. You were never weak. You were never foolish. You were never wrong for loving deeply and believing in goodness. What happened to you was not your fault, it was part of your awakening. And now you rise. Thank you for being here with Mirror of the Soul. If this journey resonated with you, subscribe, comment, and tell us what part of this story felt like it was written just for you. Your voice matters, your healing matters, and your destiny is just beginning.